Okay,
30.
I'm gonna go ahead and call the,
I'm not going.
excuse me, Budget Committee meeting to order. And, did we have minutes, or did we approve those? Oh, did you pass them out?
You're fine.
She is all over.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions about the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, at this time, I'm gonna let, Mayor Jennings, or whatever you want to be called.
I've been called a lot of things, so that's fine.
To talk to us a little bit about something we need to do this evening.
Well, you're at that time of the year, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee and everybody, where last 3 or 4 years, y'all been doing your budget in June, and it's a tremendous improvement. But to get it done in June, you've got to vote on it June the 20th, or if you need to, if something was to come up and you needed to adjourn, recess your meeting, come back a couple of nights later or whatever. But always to have the budget package, first you set your public hearing, then you vote on the appropriation resolution, which is nothing more than a fancy name for the budget. And then the third thing you vote on is your tax rate resolution. And when you have those three recommended by y'all to the county commission, then you're ready to vote on your budget. And I'll use the term as a package, but those three things have to happen. So we've always done the public hearing an hour before the county commission. If you don't have a tax increase, you don't have anybody show up. If you do, you don't have enough time because everybody wants to complain. But we've always done it at 6 unless y'all want to change it.
Did we change it last year to 6:30?
Did y'all do it at 6:30 last year?
No, we didn't, but we recommended doing it at 6:30 last year.
You can certainly do that. If
6 is good with me. I don't.
that's your call. I notice there's been sometimes we started at 6, we've done it 6:15, and then we had what they call in the Baptist church fellowship. Everybody's doing sit around and talk. So
Would someone like to make a motion to have the hearing at 6:30?
Motion. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
second thing would be your appropriation resolution. That's more, I'm just telling you the process. That's, Aaron, of course, has been working and putting your numbers together and everything. Y'all need to approve, send that out here tonight. In my opinion, this thing this year, you've got a lot of moving parts to this. If you approve that tonight, Aaron may still have to do some adjustments or whatever to it, but that'll allow y'all to get your 10-day notice into the paper. And then if he needs to make changes on a particular page or whatever, he can bring it to you on Monday night and ask you to substitute that particular page for what you have at that time. You don't want to get this thing stalled.
We've worked it up to the point that it will be in the paper in the Democrat on Saturday, which will meet the 10 days. We worked it up to that point. I didn't bring stuff with me because I'm still double checking, and particularly it gets complicated. Say we had new positions, which we did, several new positions, and they were at the old pay rate, and now you got to figure out what the equivalent new pay rate is and get all that worked out. So it's taken a little time. We do have it in the paper, but I didn't bring an actual appropriations resolution, with me tonight. But it will be to Sandra on Monday.
And I will say to that, Aaron and I talked about that this morning. We normally don't bring resolutions to you at this meeting. Y'all approve something just like these budget amendments, and then the resolutions get prepared. So I wouldn't be too alarmed that he doesn't have a resolution here tonight. But you're approving a budget an appropriation resolution with the budget to be attached to it. So
Okay, do
I
we need to
wouldn't allow it.
decide, do we need to decide if the pay plan is going to be in that or not?
I thought y'all already
I
voted
think
to
those
do
decisions are all made.
that. Yeah,
It is?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That was in the minutes.
Yeah, all right.
Tax rate would be the other thing, and that stays where it has been since reappraisal, which is 1.9089. That is the
So
total tax rate.
you'll need two separate motions. One to recommend your appropriation resolution, which includes the budget, and then one to approve your tax rate.
Do we need to vote on all those separate, or can we do it?
Separate.
Separate.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
This, to
Is that
the,
the appropriation?
the budget,
Appropriation.
the budget resolution.
Motion to accept tax rate.
Wait a
No,
minute.
hang on a second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, there was motion and a second for the budget resolution. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now one for the tax rate.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to keep the tax rate as is. Any questions or concerns?
For the record, do we need to state the 1.9089?
Probably will be in there.
She's
I have a
got-
feeling the minute taker will have that in there.
She's sharp. Boy,
She's
on
already got it
it.
in there.
Y'all are blessed tonight.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. You can go, coach.
Well, I will, as you mentioned. Yeah, the greatest T-ball team in the history of the world, Mayor's Players. Mayor's Players. We're undefeated. They don't keep score, so we're undefeated.
Okay, Aaron, I'll let you start.
Yeah, we got some end of the year budget amendments. The first one is for the Ag Center. They need some, take some money out of some lines to purchase fuel for the rest of the year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Ag Center amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
County clerk is requesting to move $2,500 from their office equipment line into other contracted services just to cover remaining fiscal year purchases.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous?
There's a couple of other things going on here on the Expo Center thing. The $6,000 that you see in the beginning, the travel and office equipment, that budget amendment, we've come to find out, we've actually brought you that budget amendment twice. So we are actually reversing where we actually did that one twice. The rest of it is to cover utility increases for increased events.
Motion.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous?
The next one I told you about at the last budget committee meeting, well, the last regularly scheduled, not non-budget related budget committee meeting. The census being effective April 1st, 2020, the elected officials have to be paid back to beginning that date. This basically catches all of them, in addition to the other people who are tied to the elected official schedule. So this catches everybody back to from April 1 of 2020 through June 30 of 2021. Beginning July 1, 2021, everybody was paid at the correct population rate from that point forward. So that's what this is.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve finance amendment request. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Can I interrupt just a minute to ask a question? When I saw this lengthy next finance budget amendment, Health and Welfare and Recreation met in May and doled out money to the various organizations. Does that have to be done in a resolution this month? Or have we already got that in the budget?
In the budget.
It's in the budget,
In the budget.
so it doesn't need to have a resolution.
No, we used to do it differently, but now everybody's, we used to have that one that was different. That
Yes.
we
Don't
just,
they run a year behind? If
Not
it's
anymore.
Not anymore. You
Not
probably
anymore.
caught that up to
Yeah.
where it's year to date.
Believe it or not, when I first started doing this, you had to do every one of them individually
Right.
and vote on them twice.
yeah.
And it's the only thing, you could vote on a $100 million budget once, but
Right.
a $500 appropriation to a home demonstration club had to be voted on twice.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear I don't have that to do that resolution. Danielle's especially
No,
that.
that's all right.
The only time that I know of for sure, he could probably say other times, the only time I know of for sure that Kenny Rich wanted to strangle me was last year when we were
Only
doing
once?
when we were doing year-end cleanup. Now, after I said, he can probably say other times. So there's these little things that you see down below the 70,000. These are just things that we need. These are cleanup items that just where it looks like we either have overspent a little bit and we're fixing it, or it looks like we're probably going to. So the 70,000 is the rent for WEMA for over in Mount Juliet. That was not in WEMA's budget, so that's what the 70,000 is. Everything else is just little cleanup items, and rather than bring them to you one by one so that you have to vote on them individually, we just put them all together in one, since it really doesn't amount to very much money outside of the 70,000.
$1?
I know.
$3?
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, Mayor would have paid that.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't believe I've ever seen anything for $5.
The rent?
Yeah. Again, if you want to strike those things, you can. We just cleaned it up. If it was over at all, we cleaned it up.
We leave it.
$1 is $1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're leaving it. It's the last
Think you
time.
got
We
a
gotta
question
pay
over
that
there?
rent for Mount Juliet.
Oh, okay.
We're building this
$3.
Duh.
Mayor, the 70,000, one location.
Behind City Hall? I
Yes.
Two locations.
was going to say, it didn't cost $7,000 to build that place.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
To a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Now, is there any additional questions or comments concerning this request? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous.
Before you get out of here, didn't you have two sheriff's budget amendment requests come out of law enforcement?
Yes, and you had Litter Grant also.
Yes. There's only one in the
Maybe say
budget
that.
packet.
Yeah.
There's one in here talking about the
Lance is
surplus.
here. Yeah, you got three things, don't you? Two budget amendments and a Litter Grant?
We have a surplus, a litter grant, and Mr. Maynard called me last week, and he's here, but one of the insurance fund requests, they decided to change that, and it was, I'll let Mr. Maynard explain it, but he said that didn't require a budget amendment.
Okay.
It was a payoff on the vehicle, was already owned by the county, it was totaled,
Okay.
and so they just generally entered it back in because the vehicle was totaled and did recovery on it.
Thank you.
Suits us. Less the merrier in this case.
Yes.
Is that right, Mr. Maynard?
That's correct,
On
sir.
top.
Yeah.
Win big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, Lance would be the one who could probably answer
I
that
want,
better
I
than
just want to
anybody.
make sure I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing well.
The budget amendment for the sheriff is for additional overtime in the jail budget.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Sheriff Department request. Is there any additional questions or comments?
I got one question for Lance.
I'm over here, Mr.
This overtime is because y'all are shorthanded, right?
Yes, sir. We, as of last week, we got approximately 22 open positions in the jail. We've made a lot of headway this week, and I think we've got 3 that was hired this week, 6 more in the pipeline, trying to get them through the process. And so we're trying to gain all the ground we can, but all those positions are open, so that money will revert back to the general
Well, that's
fund.
what-
It's already in those
that's what I was
lines.
getting at.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's unanimous.
Last one I've got is for veterans. They're requesting to transfer funds to cover travel to a conference in Texas, the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers.
It's moving it from one line to another?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're moving it within their own budget.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
I thought you was
Oh,
seconding
no,
that.
I'm asking for a second, I'm sorry.
I thought you was second, that's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah, Do we have a motion in 2 seconds? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous as well. And school system, I guess.
Aaron, what order do you have?
Everybody knows.
The first one is probably our cleanup amendments. Yes. So as I mentioned to education, that's our kind of year-end cleanup amendments. We're increasing substitute costs, diesel fuel, natural gas, things like that, and we have some smaller amounts to clean up that we went over. This is not using any funds out of fund balance, and we had some extra DEP revenue to offset this.
This is passed unanimously in education. Vote. Motion.
Second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to approve. Does this budget amendment have a number?
It's on, Aaron, did you have it on, it's 2022.
Both of them 2022.
It doesn't.
Only thing I see is the 114, and then it's got 5369, I guess, at the top.
You can just name it 2022 cleanup amendment if you want.
I'll let y'all figure that one out. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous.
The next one is our summer camp budget amendments. We had to submit a revision to the state. The state required that. So because it's in our general fund, we have to submit an amendment to our board and to our funding body. This is no new money. It's just shifting expenditures to where they would like them to be.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Hey, it's a wash here.
Okay, what was the deal on this one? The truck?
Yeah, the sheriff's, that's just, they want to declare surplus the Dodge Durango. It's just a surplus, sell it on gov deals.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve Sheriff Department request. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
And then the last thing we have here is a lease for us in the finance department. Our copy machine has started to break down as often as it's working. So we have a lease, a new one, which we have not entered into yet, pending your approval and approval of the county commission.
Bowling done crap on that.
Motion to approve.
Question on that?
Sure.
Why did we decide Xerox?
You know, that's a great question, Mike. It really is. There's no,
Because on state contract, there's several.
yeah,
Why Xerox?
you know, everybody that I'm aware of has sort of, so some people are using Xerox, some people are using,
RJ Young.
RJ. You got different people with different ones. I do know that they have a government program that is, you know, gives you some pretty good rates. But if it's your request, I mean, I don't mind putting it out and seeing what else, you know, somebody else might be able to do.
But this is a government rate though?
It is.
Okay.
It is, but the experiences that some government agencies have had with Xerox where have not been good,
I agree with you.
and especially with certain individuals
Yep.
that wouldn't stand behind what school systems do.
Yes.
I agree with him. I had the same experience.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just
It's a question.
saying that it cost us, negotiated down from about 13,000 to about 3,100.
Yep.
That could have been taken care of.
Would,
Yeah.
would it be a problem to?
No, sir. Will not be a problem. We can make it last. You know, we had it fixed like 3 or 4 times within.
What kind of machine is this? Is it a
This is the
Xerox?
big one over there in the.
But I mean, is it Xerox?
It is.
Okay.
We've done business with the same company ever since I've ever since I've been here. In fact, the vast majority of the county does business with this particular, the vast majority.
And you're happy.
Line longer.
You just worn it out, right?
Okay, what's the will of the committee?
I made a motion to approve it.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Okay, died for the lack of a second,
Yep.
so I assume we'll do some shopping and come back to us.
Will do.
All right.
So is the question the pay or is the question the service?
I think, I can't speak for anybody else. It seems the question surrounds a particular individual would be my interpretation.
I said Xerox.
I say service.
Yes.
How's your service been?
Our service has been great.
Is there a better price?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll find out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I see that the agreement is 39 months. Is there a possibility, since there is such a discussion, to reduce the length of the lease agreement, do it for like 6 or 12 months, if the cost is not prohibitive, then it gives you time to search for another company or...
They won't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, for the time being, we'll get through. We're talking 30 days, okay?
July.
Yeah, so, you know, in 30 days, we'll compare what else is out there. I don't know how you compare, personally, I'm open to interpretation is what I'm trying to say here. I don't know how you compare, service other than to say, you know, what is your, I need somebody who can be on site within X number of hours, and again, we have never had a problem. I understand that, because I was here for the wailing and gnashing of teeth when the school system went in a different direction. But I'm unaware of anybody in county government outside the school system who has ever had a problem. But if they have had a problem, they haven't told me about it, and we haven't had a problem.
You just bring it back to us.
I'll bring it back to you.
Okay. Surplus lease agreement. Okay. Mayor, do you have anything?
I think you got a question in the far corner.
I just wanted to reiterate what she said. We do have a litter grant, and I don't think it was in the packet, but it was approved by law enforcement on June the 2nd. And if y'all would take that, I've got the information if you'd like me to present.
Please.
Litter grant, we have to get a approval resolution each year. It is for $78,000. TDOT, $54,600 will go towards salaries, $23,400 will go towards education. And that's basically helping pay the salaries for the work bus crew, one of the work bus crews on the litter grant.
Motion to approve.
Second, do you need to get the resolution to Mr. Jennings?
We have it.
You already have
It
it?
just wasn't.
Okay,
but
we
it-
already got a
it-
motion and a second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the litter grant. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous? Now, Mayor.
And I think we just need to consider, we did it, Mr. Maynard, in education, to do a $60 million bond that would include what we needed for the West Wilson School build. With that, as me and you've already talked, 20-year bond with a callable date of 5 years, with taking the 90% of whatever FEMA will give us back. Michael also said there's a possibility of a 5% from TEMA that we could possibly get. All of that, he said, would be, those payments would be directed to the trustee's office. It would not go through the school system, come back to us. And any contingency money they have left over, because there are contingencies built in there, would also could be paid at the end of 5 years as well if we needed to do so with that, we track that. I think we explained it pretty well, but I can re-explain it, or Michael can talk, or Director Luttrell can talk if anybody wants to talk about how it all fit. This does include the land for the elementary portion, and there'll also be a general debt service for $3 million for the high school portion of that land. although the land has not been approved yet, would come next month. But as we talk, the issuance would be cheaper today, definitely with doing 2 bonds at once, and also the interest rates at that time. If the land that we don't work at double log cabin comes in higher with the ones that we do get, and we need some extra money, capital projects or fund balance could cover that gap if we needed to cover that gap. But I have Ashley, I know you've been busy with all your stuff, and so we talked some.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley has got both bond resolutions ready to go, and we want you to look over them, make sure they're good. And then we'll get them back to him, and he'll get them to Mike before Monday, so they can go out in the packet to be voted on Monday night. Any questions of me?
Question I have more than anything, we've got to build the school, there's no question about that, buy the land. But are we certain we're borrowing this money the cheapest way for the taxpayers with the possibility of the money coming back from FEMA? That's my main concern.
Yes, sir. I think, so here's the risk you run, and why I don't like the capital outlay note option. Capital outlay note is generally 3 years. You can extend it by up to 12. But if you did it for 5 years, which is when you think you'll get the money back, okay? The level debt service, which is now required by the comptroller's office, all debt issued has to be level debt service. Level debt service on $50 million, you can't make those payments. So you do it for 20 years on a bond. Is it a little more expensive? Yes, but you put the call provision in so you can pay it off, so you're not stuck dealing with it for 20 years.
But the call provision's gonna cost something, right?
I'm sure it will, but again, your alternative, you can't make the payments on. You can't pay level debt service on $50 million.
As long as we're doing the best we can for the taxpayers is my concern.
Yes, sir.
And you are in that, and that we talked both with Ashley about the 5-year and capital outlay note and the cost of the 5-year callable. The other piece of that goes to it is the money that as we build the schools, FEMA, once the contract is done, they'll send me checks periodically. I don't have to wait for 5 years to get my checks back, so we can take that. That could also draw some interest. Won't be a lot of interest, but we could still draw some of that money. And then at the end of that 5 years, if the money is small enough, you could delete the bond right then and not extend that small amount for the next 20 years, for the next 15 years, if you choose to do so. Or the interest rates could be lower, I doubt it. But definitely if they're higher, then that's cheap money. So that's a positive there for you as well, as opposed to waiting. But the biggest deal is really the amount of cash we would need on hand to do 5-year capital outlay note. And that's right, I was going early, and it's not the right way. So,
Got a question?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mayor, I have a question on, when it's callable for 5 years, 5 years callable, you don't have to call all the bonds, do you?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
yes, sir.
You just call, say you can have 20 million you got from FEMA and all that, you can just call $20 million from that.
Just pay off what I can.
You want to make a motion?
Motion to.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this. Is there any other comments or questions?
As a
Concerns.
resolution up to 60 million.
Not to
Okay.
exceed, not to exceed.
Not to exceed 60 million on the rural debt service
Mhm.
and 3 million on general debt service.
Yes. Not to exceed on both.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. If there's no other questions, comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other business? Any questions from the community? One other motion.
Motion to adjourn.